Robert Spangler killed 2 of his 3 wives. His third wife ended up committing suicide after Robert and her got divorced. However, it took nearly 20 years for the police to finally arrest him after he confessed. This is a very crazy case, so let's get into it. Welcome back to another video, guys. My name's Harmon. Today's video is all about Robert Spangler. In all outward appearances, Robert Spangler seemed to live a very easygoing, happy life. So on the morning of December 30th, 1978, 5 days after Christmas, Robert Spangler killed his wife Nancy and his 2 children. His wife Nancy was 45 at the time, and his 2 children, his son David was 17 and his daughter Susan was 15. So Robert lured his wife Nancy down into the basement under the pretense that he would show her some sort of surprise. Unfortunately, the surprise was her getting shot. So he ended up shooting his wife Nancy in the basement in the head, killing her. He was using a .38 caliber handgun. He then went back upstairs and shot and killed, again, his 2 children. His son David was slowly dying out, so Robert ended up smothering him in order to kill him quicker. Now, with most murders that happen in a household, especially a family murder, most of the time the police look at the surviving family member, usually the spouse. In this instance, Robert Spangler did such a good job at setting the crime scene to make it look like his wife Nancy shot the 2 kids and then herself. In other words, he made the crime scene look so good that he actually got away with murder. And you would think, oh, there's no way. Again, this was 1978. I would say forensics back then probably wasn't as great as it is now in 2020, so that probably helped him. But he did, apparently, he dressed the whole crime scene to make it look like Nancy killed the 2 children and then herself. And you would think, oh, the story probably ends there, he eventually gets caught, blah blah blah, right? Nope. Robert Spangler was 45 years old also at the time he killed his wife and 2 children. So the way that Robert set up the crime scene, he placed the gun that he killed his wife and 2 children with next to Nancy, and then he ended up typing a suicide note and he put it next to Nancy's body. And I guess he was able to get her initials somehow before she died. He claimed he was at work, and he even had residue on his palm from gunshot powder. If you're not familiar with gunshot powder residue, usually when you shoot a gun, the residue comes off onto your hands. Whoever shoots the gun, the powder comes back onto your hands. In other words, he had the powder on his hands, which meant he shot a gun recently. He claimed that he saw the gun and picked it up to make sure that it was secured. And so that's why he claimed he had gunshot powder on his hands, is because he wanted to make sure the gun was secured when the police came. And so again, I guess to the police at that time, it looked legit. It looked like Nancy killed herself and her 2 children. But we all know that's not true. He was free. They didn't suspect him. So he was let go, and so he ended up marrying a different lady named Sharon Cooper, his second wife, and we'll get into more about her in a little bit later. They ended up getting divorced, and then he ended up marrying his third wife, Donna Sudling. She was 59 years old in April of 1993 when, again, Robert Spangler killed her as well. He ended up hiking around the Grand Canyon, and he ended up pushing her off the trail around the Grand Canyon, and he killed her. 59-year-old Donna Sudling, of course, died after falling 140 feet off the trail. Robert claimed that he turned around to adjust the camera, and when he turned back around, she disappeared. And of course, many of you, including myself, don't buy that at all. That's like the dumbest excuse I've ever heard. Oh, I turned around, adjust my camera, and then all of a sudden my wife was gone. Seems a little suspicious. And once again, Robert got away with murder, which is insane. So at this point, he's killed 4 people, including 2 of his wives. It wasn't until 1994 when his second wife, Shannon Cooper, ended up committing suicide. And after she committed suicide, the police finally started to put some pieces together and started questioning Robert about his first wife, his 2 children, and then his third wife dying as well. So they finally started to put the pieces together once his second wife committed suicide. It wasn't until 6 years later, when in 2000, Robert got the news that he had cancer. And I guess it was a type of cancer where it was spreading fast. He knew he wasn't going to live much longer. And so he, on his own accord, decided to tell police that he murdered his first wife, Nancy, their 2 children, and then his third wife by pushing her off the Grand Canyon Trail. I think police went to him knowing that he was dying and were wanting to see if he could answer questions about all 4 of the family members that he killed. They had their suspicions, but they couldn't prove anything, and so he basically just got away with it up until he finally confessed in 2000. So he was finally arrested, sentenced to life in prison, which for a guy who at that point in time was in his 70s and had cancer that was going to kill him, he probably didn't care. So the first murders of his wife Nancy and his 2 children happened here in Littleton, Colorado. If you've been following my channel for a while and you saw my earlier videos in regards to the different Colorado murders that have happened, Columbine, John Benet Ramsey, and James Holmes, the Dark Knight theater shooter, all those crimes have happened within like a 35-40 mile radius. And Columbine is only about, I think, 10 minutes or so from here where I'm at in Littleton, Colorado. So a lot of crimes have happened in this area. His second wife, Shannon, who committed suicide, or at least that's what they think, because you never know with Robert. I mean, for all we know, he could have killed her as well. But she supposedly died of a drug overdose. It seems like it wouldn't be too hard for Robert to have injected his second wife with drugs, killing her. Considering all the elaborate schemes he did to pull off the other murders, I wouldn't find it hard to believe that he could have easily killed his second wife as well. The police did not question him about his second wife's death, though. They should have, I feel like, considering everything else that happened, but he just admitted to the first wife, his 2 children, and then his third wife's murder. August 5th, 2001, he died in prison. So we'll never know 100% with certainty if he ended up killing his second wife as well, or if he ended up killing anyone else for that matter. It feels like the police should have done a little bit better job in all of the murders that happened and questioned him further. Again, they didn't maybe have as much technology as they do now. I feel like Robert was one of the most talented actors in terms of being able to get through lines of police about all of the murders he committed. I don't know, it's pretty crazy. But anyway guys, so I'm gonna head to Robert's house, the first house he lived at with his wife Nancy and his 2 children. A lot of neighbors get very, very nervous whenever someone comes around with a camera like mine doing a video of their house, or even if it's not their house. I've been yelled at several times by neighbors claiming they're gonna call the police on me, when you have every right to film or take pictures of any house in the country, as long as you stay on the sidewalk or the street. If you don't go onto their property, you're allowed to do that. And a lot of people just don't know that, or maybe just don't even care. But anyway, so I will do my best to try to film the house for you. But as history repeats itself, it's been a struggle trying to film these houses of these crimes, because neighbors just get very bent out of shape whenever you pull up a camera around their house. So we'll see what happens. Walking right now to the former house of Robert Spangler, his first wife, and their 2 children. If you're wondering, the address is 7614 South Franklin Way. It's considered Littleton, but on the map I think it's called Centennial, Colorado, I believe. Their house is right there behind me with the red Prius. It's just crazy, in my opinion, how easy it was for Robert to get away with everything. And again, he died in prison about 8 months, 10 months after he confessed due to cancer. So I don't know if justice was really served. The police I guess just didn't do a good job. But anyway, so the house is right there behind me. Just a sad case all around, especially for all the people involved. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're new around here, again, my name's Harmon. This channel used to be called Harmon Vlogs, and changed it to the infamous crime locations, just due to the fact that I feel like it would help my channel grow. And honestly, it's been a struggle. If you've been around my channel for a long time, you know it's been 4 years grinding, putting out videos, and haven't really seen much success. So I was hoping change the channel name to something that fits my new content, which of course is crime related. So if you enjoy this kind of content, then make sure you hit subscribe, the little bell icon next to it, and just stay tuned for my new videos. It's every Monday and Friday I post. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Again, crazy case. I always seem to find the weird crazy ones. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. My name's Harmon, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya.